What if your gut doesn't actually need a detox? What if all those teas, juice cleanses, and miracle powders are trying to fix a problem you don't even have? Because here's the thing, your gut isn't a dirty pipe that needs to be flushed out. Your body already has a cleanup system. Your liver processes unwanted substances, your kidneys filter your blood, and your intestines move waste out of your body. So when your stomach feels bloated, sluggish, or just plain off, the answer usually isn't to force everything out. It's to figure out what's getting in the way. Think about a normal busy day. You grab a sweet coffee in the morning, maybe a pastry on the way to work. Lunch comes from a drive-through. Then you snack through the afternoon and eat a big dinner late at night. Your digestive system stays busy all day, but it may not be getting the one thing it really needs: fiber. Fiber travels through most of your digestive system without being fully broken down. When it reaches your colon, certain gut bacteria use it as food, and that's where things get interesting. When these bacteria break down fiber, they create compounds called short-chain fatty acids. The name sounds complicated, but their job is pretty simple. They help feed the cells lining your colon and support a healthier environment inside your gut. In other words, some of your gut bacteria help take care of your gut. But first, you have to feed them. Most Americans don't get enough fiber. Adults generally need around 22 to 34 grams per day, depending on age and sex. But don't go from barely eating fiber to loading your plate with beans, bran, and raw vegetables overnight. That can backfire fast. Your gut bacteria may suddenly produce more gas than your body is used to handling. Then comes the bloating, pressure, and cramping. And now you're thinking, great, I tried eating healthy and somehow I feel worse. The healthy food may not be the problem. You may have simply changed too much too fast. Start small. Add berries or oats to breakfast. Throw some beans into a soup. Add one vegetable to dinner. Swap white bread for a whole grain option. Let your gut adjust before adding more. But there's a catch. Fiber works best when your body has enough fluid. Fiber absorbs water. That can make stools softer and easier to pass. If you increase fiber without drinking enough, constipation may actually get worse. This doesn't mean you need to carry a gallon-sized water bottle everywhere like it's your full-time job. Just drink regularly. Pay attention to thirst and increase fluids when you exercise or spend time in hot weather. Now, food and water matter, but your intestines also need to move. Between meals, your stomach and small intestine create waves of muscular activity that push leftover material forward. Think of it like the cleanup crew at a restaurant. They do their best work when customers stop walking in. If you're eating or snacking every hour, your digestive system gets fewer quiet periods. That doesn't mean you need to starve yourself or jump into some extreme fasting challenge. For many people, the first move is much simpler. Eat balanced meals, cut back on constant grace, and give your body some breathing room between dinner and bedtime. That last part matters more than most people realize. If you eat a huge meal and lie down right afterward, gravity is no longer helping keep the food and stomach acid where they belong. If you deal with acid reflux, that can make for a pretty rough night. Sometimes the answer isn't a detox drink. It's a smaller dinner and a little more time before bed. Now let's talk about the part everyone seems obsessed with: the gut microbiome. Your digestive tract contains trillions of bacteria and other tiny organisms. Most of them live in your large intestine. You've probably heard them divided into good bacteria and bad bacteria, but it's not quite that simple. A microbe's effect can depend on where it lives, how much of it is present, what it's eating, and what the other microbes around it are doing. So the goal isn't to wipe out everything labeled bad. The real goal is balance. And one of the best ways to support that balance is to eat a wider range of plant foods. Different microbes like different types of fiber. The bacteria that benefit from oats may not be the same ones that benefit from beans, apples, nuts, onions, or leafy greens. That's why one trendy superfood isn't going to magically rebuild your entire gut. Variety matters more. You don't need to eat a perfect rainbow at every meal. Just stop eating the same 3 foods every day. Try a different fruit. Rotate your vegetables. Add lentils or beans. Experiment with a whole grain you don't normally buy. Small changes add up. But what about probiotic supplements? Some bottles claim to contain billions of helpful bacteria. That number sounds impressive, but more bacteria doesn't automatically mean better results. Probiotic is a broad term. Different strains do different things. A strain that may help in one situation might do absolutely nothing in another. Two supplements can both say probiotic while containing completely different organisms. So buying a bottle with the biggest number is a bit like choosing medicine based on how many pills are in the package. It doesn't tell you whether it's the right product for your problem. Research suggests probiotics may help in certain situations, but the evidence is mixed for many popular claims. For most healthy adults, fermented foods may be a more practical place to start. Think yogurt with live cultures, kefir, kimchi, miso, tempeh, or refrigerated sauerkraut. But check the label. Not every fermented food still contains live cultures. Heat processing can kill them. Some products also contain a lot of added sugar or sodium. And if fermented foods make you feel worse, don't force them down because somebody online called them a superfood. Your body doesn't care about food trends. The same goes for other foods that are supposed to be good for everyone. Some people have trouble digesting lactose. Others react to certain fermentable carbohydrates. People with celiac disease need to avoid gluten because it triggers an immune reaction that damages the small intestine. Those are very different issues. A generic gut cleanse can't tell you which one is causing your symptoms. That's why a simple symptom diary can be surprisingly useful. For a week or two, write down what you eat, when your symptoms start, how you sleep, your stress level, and what your bowel movements are like. Yes, talking about bowel movements isn't exactly glamorous, but your doctor will probably ask about them anyway. You may notice that symptoms show up after a certain food, or you might discover that food isn't the whole problem. Maybe bloating gets worse when you rush through meals. Maybe constipation appears during stressful weeks. Maybe you feel awful after sleeping 5 hours, skipping lunch, and then eating half the kitchen at night. That brings us to something a lot of people miss. Your brain and your gut are constantly talking to each other. Stress can change how quickly food moves through your digestive system. It can also make your brain more sensitive to normal digestive sensations. A small amount of gas that you normally wouldn't notice may suddenly feel painful. That doesn't mean the pain is all in your head. The discomfort is real. It means digestion is partly controlled by communication between your brain and your gut. That's why endlessly removing foods doesn't always solve the problem. You may be changing the menu while ignoring the system running the restaurant. So slow down when you eat. Chew your food. Take a few calm breaths before a meal. Go for a short walk afterward. And find a realistic way to manage ongoing stress. That could mean exercise, therapy, breathing exercises, spending time outside, or finally setting some boundaries around work. There's no single method that works for everyone. Pick something you'll actually keep doing. Sleep is another big piece of the puzzle. Poor sleep can affect hunger, food cravings, stress hormones, and digestion. After a bad night, you're also more likely to reach for highly processed foods. Then those choices may leave you uncomfortable, which makes it harder to sleep the following night. And just like that, you're stuck in a loop. Better sleep won't magically fix every gut problem, but if you ignore sleep, you may be making everything else harder. Movement helps too. Regular physical activity supports the normal movement of your intestines and may help some people with constipation. You don't need to crush a brutal workout after dinner. A 10-minute walk is enough to get started. That's especially helpful if you spend most of your day sitting at a desk, in a car, or on the couch. Now let's talk about processed food. One cookie isn't going to destroy your gut. Your microbiome isn't that fragile. The bigger problem is when highly processed foods make up most of your diet, and whole foods barely get a chance. Many packaged foods are low in fiber and easy to eat quickly. They may also contain large amounts of refined starch, added sugar, sodium, or saturated fat. You don't have to throw away everything in your kitchen. Look for the habit that keeps repeating. Maybe breakfast is always a pastry. Maybe lunch always comes from a drive-thru. Maybe every drink contains added sugar. Start with that one habit. Replace the pastry with oatmeal, eggs, fruit, nuts, or yogurt. Build lunch around vegetables, a protein source, and a high-fiber carbohydrate. Swap one packaged snack for fruit and a handful of nuts. Nothing dramatic, just choices you can still make when life gets busy. Because the perfect gut health plan is useless if you quit after 4 days. There's another mistake worth talking about: using medications or supplements without a good reason. Antibiotics save lives. If you have a bacterial infection that requires treatment, Avoiding antibiotics because you're worried about your microbiome can be dangerous. But antibiotics may also kill some helpful bacteria along with the harmful ones. That's why they should be used when medically appropriate, not as a casual gut reset and not for viral infections they can't treat. Other medications may affect digestion too. Some pain relievers, iron supplements, diabetes medications, acid reducers, and antidepressants can contribute to digestive symptoms. Do not stop a prescribed medication on your own. Ask your doctor whether it could be playing a role and whether a safe alternative is available. And don't assume that natural automatically means safe. Many so-called detox teas contain stimulant laxatives. They can make you rush to the bathroom, which creates the feeling that your body is being cleaned out. But diarrhea is not proof that toxins are leaving your body. It's often just proof that you took a laxative. Using these products too often can cause dehydration and throw off important minerals in your body. Your gut doesn't become healthier just because it becomes emptier. So how do you know whether your gut is improving? Don't judge your progress by how much weight you lose during a 3-day cleanse. That quick drop is usually water and less food sitting in your digestive tract. It's not proof that you burned a meaningful amount of body fat. Instead, ask better questions. Are your bowel movements becoming more regular? Is bloating happening less often? Can you eat a wider range of foods without discomfort? Do you feel satisfied after meals? Are your symptoms becoming more predictable? Real improvement may take weeks, and it probably won't happen in a perfectly straight line. You'll have good days and bad days. That's normal, but some symptoms shouldn't be handled with home remedies. Blood in your stool, black stool, repeated vomiting, unexplained weight loss, trouble swallowing, fever, severe abdominal pain, persistent diarrhea, anemia, or symptoms that wake you from sleep need medical attention. You should also speak with a healthcare professional if your symptoms are new, getting worse, or interfering with your daily life. Calling everything poor gut health can delay the diagnosis of a real medical condition. And no, an expensive home microbiome test usually won't give you every answer. These tests can show which organisms appear in a stool sample, but scientists still can't use most of that information to design a perfect, medically proven diet for one person. Your microbiome can also change based on what you ate, medications, illness, travel, and even when the sample was collected. The report may look incredibly advanced. That doesn't mean it gives you useful instructions. For most people, the best starting point is still pretty basic. Eat a wider variety of minimally processed foods. Increase fiber slowly. Drink enough fluid. Move your body. Stop snacking every hour if you don't need to. Give yourself time between dinner and bed. Protect your sleep. Take stress seriously. And use supplements for a clear reason, not because an influencer promised a complete reset. Your gut isn't asking to be scrubbed clean. It's a living ecosystem connected to your brain, immune system, metabolism, and daily habits. Support it consistently, and it may become more stable and resilient. Not overnight, not because of one magic powder, and definitely not because you spent 3 miserable days drinking green juice. The truth about resetting your gut isn't flashy. It comes down to what you repeatedly eat, how you live, and whether you pay attention when your body tells you something isn't right. If you want more straight-up, science-backed health information without all the internet hype, subscribe and stick around for the next video.